Hey friends, it's Mari. Thanks so much for stopping by. I wanted to start off here by showing you some images of a die set that I'm going to be using today from Honeybee Stamps. This is a die set called Threshold card, and I'm going to be using it to create an interactive page for my December album. You can see all of the dies here, and I'm going to cut them out of a bunch of different papers. I'm going to start off here with this Bazzill textured cardstock, and I'm going to cut one. So I'm going to cut one layer out of this color, and then once I've got that done, I'm going to cut the next layer out of a plaid paper from the Falala collection, and I'm going to layer those on top of each other in that way, and then the base for the whole page is going to be that craft patterned paper that you see under the door there. So I actually have 3 layers now cut. I've got a base rectangle shape that's a dark teal, which you can see there, and then the lighter aqua color I'll layer on top, and the top layer will be that plaid paper. So I'm just going to use my repositionable Kokio adhesive here to put these all together. And this creates a really neat effect. I really like this. And I'm going to just finish getting those layers stuck down, and then I will stick the kind of like the molding, the cornice molding piece, or I'm not really sure what you would call this, but it's that top piece there. And I'm going to stick that onto my project here with some double-sided adhesive. I just want to make sure that that gets stuck on there really well. Now the dies also include a little bit of or the pieces that you can use to create a little wreath, which I think is super cool. And this little front door is going to have a really festive wreath hanging on it, and I'm going to create that by cutting out a bunch of papers from, firstly, the wreath is cut from some patterned paper, and then the little foliage pieces are going to be cut from a variety of different colored papers, including that same aqua paper that I've already used in the door. These green pieces I think are Gina K Jelly Bean Green, and you'll just see me here working with my tweezers, getting some liquid adhesive on the back of these different pieces and getting them stuck down to that wreath. And there are I think 4 different pieces of foliage, and they're 2 each are going opposite directions. So at first I had 2 going in the same direction, but I just kind of put that one aside. Now you can see I've got 2 across from each other that are going in a way that kind of makes them look like they make sense. They're kind of in a circular shape. And I'm going to take the little holly leaves and get those stuck down. I'll put 2 leaves on each side, and then I'm going to use some Studio Katia gems to go down here as the little berries on the holly. And those little gems from Studio Katia I think are called July, and they're a really pretty red. So I will leave a list at underneath the video in the description box so that you can see all of the different products that I've used here. I haven't done this for a while, but I'm going to get back into the habit of posting a blog post with a list of all of the ingredients for the different projects, and then just leave a link for my blog. I used to do that, and then I think I just got busy with, teaching Hamlet and marking Hamlet essays and everything else that goes along with being a high school English teacher. I think that I just I couldn't keep up with it. But now in my retirement, I am going to try to get back into doing some of those things that I didn't have time to do before when I was working full time. And that is definitely one of them. So today I will just have a list at the bottom of the video in the description box of what I used. But in the future, I am going to get back to linking things up on my blog post. So I will let you know when that happens so that you can go to the blog and find the products I used. So these are those little Studio Katia gems, and they're just really pretty. They're really glistening and showy, and they actually look really cool, almost exactly like as if they were holly berries. And I think that's a really fun little bit of detail for this little wreath. So I'm going to take my Nuvo Crystal Glaze And I'm going to also use my jewel picker here. I'm going to pick up those little jewels with the jewel picker and put them into that little puddle of crystal glaze. The nice thing about the crystal glaze is it's really, really super strong, and it will actually hold those little gems nicely in place. So this is, because this is going to be an interactive piece, it's probably going to get lots of movement going on. So I just wanted to make sure that all of the adhesives that I'm using here are super, super strong and are going to make sure that everything stays into place. Now, the mail slot and the doorknob that go and the handle that go on the little door here, I cut from some Holtz Metallic cardstock. And I really love how this little mail slot actually has a slit in it with a little scored spot where it folds. I think that's really cool. And the little doorknob has two pieces to it. It's got the handle and then the little round knob that you can do in two separate pieces. I actually did cut it separately, and I glued the knob onto the handle with a little glue dot just so that it sticks up a little bit and it looks kind of dimensional in that way. So I'm just going to glue that door handle down with my liquid adhesive, and here you'll just see me taking a little glue dot. I'm going to adhere that to the back of the knob and then stick that down onto that door handle. I did take the Hello die that's part of this die set, and I cut it from some really pretty iridescent, sparkly, shiny cardstock from Fawn. It's a glitter cardstock. I kind of forget what it's called, but I will list it down below as well so that you can find that if you want to use it. What I really liked about it is it kind of looks like snow, and it kind of gives the whole thing sort of like a little bit more of a wintry theme. So I'm just adding a little bit of adhesive to the back of that die cut, and I really like how this is going to look when it's on here. I'm not sure if you've checked out honeybee dies before or honeybee stamps, but because I'm a card maker too, I have a lot of this stuff in my stash, and it's really cool to be able to use these things for more than just one application, because you know what? These dies are not cheap. And I want to be able to use as much of these different things in the different processes as I possibly can. Now, my first thought with this door was to score it on the left side so that it looks like it's hinging on the left and then it opens like a normal door. But because there's 3 layers of paper on that area where the hinges are, it just did not score very well. And I don't think it would have worked even if I had scored and folded the paper separately. I think it still would have been tough to get it to score and fold. And if you try this and you're able to make it work, make sure that you leave me a comment and let me know how you did that. But I didn't really feel like it was going to work that well. So what I decided to do was adapt it and make it a flap from the top. And I'm fine with that. I think it's going to work well. It actually, what my idea was, is to use one of these Simple Stories page protectors or little photo protectors that has the adhesive so that it can be a single photo page protector and flap up. And I'm thinking I'm going to put that behind this door. That will make more sense when I actually get it finished and I share it here when my whole album is done. And I actually am going to do that. So you can watch for that, and I'll show you that interactive bit when it's all done. I wanted to just take my base paper here and hole punch it with my hole punch guide there. And then I am going to attach the door with more of that really strong double-sided adhesive there so that this won't come off. And there you can see it's going to flap up, and that's the interactive part of it. Now I wanted to secure that at the bottom as well. So I took my Stampin' Up slot punch. I don't know if you have one of these, but I love them. I think they're genius. And so what I did was I just traced the bottom of my door there, and I used a little guide on the punch, and I just punched that little slot there. So there, that's going to keep the bottom of the door secure. And then when the person is looking at the album, that little slot holder at the bottom is going to indicate that there's something underneath, that this flap actually moves. So I like how this turned out. I hope you liked it too. I hope you were inspired to do something interactive in your album and perhaps use some of the dies that you have in your stash. Use them in a different and unique way so that you get more use out of some of those kinds of things in your stash. Thank you so much for stopping by today, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you back again for more December album prep another time. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.